from last week to this week? Who's got something they want to share that went right for them, or a success in their business that they want to talk about? I have one. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we showed a house in St. Helena. Client we've had for about 2.5 years. Wrote an offer, had it accepted. So
Awesome.
That's nice.
That's a nice
Awesome.
easy
Very
sale.
cool.
Hi, Michael.
Very cool. Way to go.
And, you
Hey,
know,
Michael.
Up on the board.
we celebrated my birthday on the same day, so.
Wow.
Nice. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot. I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I spent it before we.
49 again, huh?
Yeah. You spent it? On the
Oh,
plane?
some of it.
Yeah.
May I
Very
just say
cool.
something funny
Yes.
about Emil?
Yes.
So-
Is it only if it's okay with Emil?
No, this has nothing to do with real estate, but we're talking flashback a few years when I was interviewing Emil and Kathy, they were interviewing me, at Omelette Express in Santa Rosa. So as we're leaving Omelette Express, Emil goes out and gets in his car, and Kathy does, and I don't know if they were together or separate or whatever, but there were these two ladies, and as I walk out, this lady grabs my arm and kind of swings me around, and she said,
Do you know that guy?
she said, yeah, who was that guy you were talking to at breakfast? And I said, his name's Emil, and she's like, is he married? So I said, sort of. Yeah. Depends. You know?
Everybody's looking to upgrade.
You know, what's the offer?
Yeah,
I just thought that was funny.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
That's
you're
great.
such a sweetheart.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
That's funny.
I want to share, we don't know yet if it's a success or not, but Rick and I had a neat experience I'd like to share real briefly.
Yeah.
That felt like a success whether we get the listing or not. I have a past client that mom has a place down in Marin, and I don't do much in Marin, and
No, you just.
but my client wanted to know, hey, either refer me, or can you do Marin? Do you do Marin? Do you have anybody in your company who does Marin? So I decided to reach out to Rick Warner and partner up with him, and Rick was willing to help me in any way he could, and I want to give kudos for that.
That's really cool.
And so Rick and I went and looked at the property, and the more we talked to her, the more she really became more and more evident that some sort of presence in Marin was important. And so once again, Rick became, you know, a great asset in the team environment that we put together. In the meantime, she wanted a lot of information in a hurry, and yet was reasonably unavailable. And so Rick and I ended up working together, doing some comms, and we did a conference call. He was at his house, I was at my house, and we were on the phone with the client, doing a listing presentation.
On the phone?
On the phone.
Oh, wow.
We'd already sent the comps, we had sent a pre-listing presentation to her. She had time to review our marketing plan, she had time to review the comps, and then she was able to sit in front of her computer for a few minutes and do that. It was really a scheduling issue more than anything else.
Right.
And maybe a little bit of her kind of putting a little wall of protection.
Yeah, sure.
But great client, you know, I'm going to be representing them when they sell down there to come up here. All that being said, you know, as you guys know, Rick has been talking about the power of no, and we've been dealing with that, with the word no, and I say that not
Go for no?
Go for no, sort of a thing. And how I tag that to what was happening with Rick and I is I have a relationship with this person, and I listened into Rick's presentation and you know, and interjected as I felt fit, but there was a part of me that where Rick was taking the client was through the mud a little bit of the market, you know, a little bit of the mud of the property, and I'm just like, I'm experiencing like
anxiety.
Yeah, like, oh my God, I can't believe you say this to her. And then I watched as we brought it back around to the positives. As we finished off with the things that are, you know, that why people would buy the property. You know, why people wouldn't, and so I just wanted to share the experience that I had where, and I'm working on me and more in this area to be, not to be so apprehensive to say things that need to be said that just may not be comfortable.
Yeah, right.
And so I walked it, I was able to, he sort of almost handheld me, forced me to hold his hand and walk through this thing in the process, and it was a really good experience. And the client was reacting not good, you know, for a couple of minutes there was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna hate us, you know? And that's my mind, right? Worst thing not getting the deal is that she hates me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Because you have a relationship with her.
Right, and, you know, and it's kind of how I'm wired in a way anyway, and
Uh-huh.
so all that to be said, but to do her a good service, she needed to hear these things.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the end, she said it made sense. But I can tell you, we were in the mud for a period of that presentation.
Yeah.
I thought we were in the dirtiest, muddiest area.
Like way off the rails?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, but by the time we talked about, and he was smart, whether it was intentional or not,
Mhm.
you know, the biggest asset of that property is not its condition, but its location.
Mhm.
And she's a school teacher, and schools it's one of the best school districts in Marin, San Rafael area in Marin
Mhm.
County. And
Right.
so we brought it back to the schools at the end, and
Mhm.
that just hit home for her, and she
Sure.
went, okay.
And you know something about that really hits home for me, what you just said. It reminds me in fact, Jimmy at Summit, who was my lender that I always went to when I was selling and stuff, I sat in his presentation that he does, and he has an analogy that he uses that you guys might still use about an airplane ride, right? It'd be like riding an airplane with Emil, probably, actually. So I'm just kidding. I don't know what kind of pilot he is. I'm sure he's good. But you know, you take
extra insurance.
you take a flight somewhere, and you take off, and you're excited, and you're going to your destination, and along the way, there's going to be some turbulence. But like pilots say, any landing you can walk away from is a good one. And that's not what you say to the client. But I mean, you know, you're going to get to your destination. There's going to be a few bumps along the way, and so in a presentation, if your presentation is all sunshine and blue sky, it's like, it's not believable. Having a little spice in it, having a little mud in it, having a little reality in it, just makes it real, and it actually engenders trust, I think.
Yeah, one of the key things Rick said is, I'd rather tell you the hard stuff right now than apologize later.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's a great way to go, because not a lot of, and it also is going to differentiate you guys from the other people who go in there with sunshine and blue sky and prices that are too high, and that rhymes. Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Thanks for letting me
I'd love to know what happens.
I'll keep it
that
there.
you-
We'll
yeah.
report back.
Who else has something they want to share?
May I just piggyback on what he just
Yeah,
said? I think I was telling you, Roy, about this. One of our agents in the East office, Kathy Grant, has a listing of 2 million, I think it's almost 2.9 million, something like that.
Mhm.
The people have it dramatically overpriced. And so she wanted to know if she could have my help in getting a price reduction. So I went up, looked at the property, pulled the comps, and it's like way overpriced.
Mhm.
So I told her I would go with her. She said she was nervous about telling them, and without support. So we went into the house, and as we're walking in the door, Kathy looks at me and says, "I'm not going to say a word, you do all the talking." I'll back
You
you
didn't
up.
know that, right? You got to know where
I'll go
they're
back you
doing
up way back. So anyway, so I just delivered the message and took them through, like John just said, took them through the mud and brought them out the other side. And the lady at that point said, she was sort of leaning toward our way of thinking, and then we left. And then she gave Kathy this scathing email about how awful that Eileen person is, and how could she say this, and here's all the money we put in this house, and list and list and list.
Mhm.
And the end result was Kathy told me that the lady dropped her price $500,000,
Mhm.
and told Kathy that they would never work with anybody but her.
Good.
And so, but I mean, sometimes you have to, sometimes you can
You've
use
got to make
support.
it for a minute.
If you need support of somebody else to deliver the message, I mean, sometimes it's good to have two people,
Yeah.
And
And I think people inherently understand that a real estate agent doesn't get paid unless and until the house sells. And what would be your motivation for intentionally pissing them off so that they won't list the house with you?
Yeah.
Like if you're telling them the right, if you can just have that conversation with them. So what's my angle here? I want your listing. I want to go to work for you. I know that you don't like the price that I'm telling you that the market is going to bring us. But what would be my angle in telling you that price? I mean, I don't.
Well, we all know what they think the angle
Yeah,
is. The angle.
quick sale,
Quick
before
sale,
you
easy
get
money.
done. Yeah, yeah.
That's the angle.
But then it's easy to have that conversation with them after
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Because then if you could just get just to that.
Yeah.
Because we've all those clients, right? Well, mine has R14 insulation, and so it's worth 300 grand more than the one next door, because that guy's got crappy insulation.
Yes.
And my tree in the backyard's way bigger around than
Yes.
right?
I've come up with a great thing for that, and I ask people, what would you rather do? Have buyers come in and make lowball offers to see how low you will go? Or wouldn't you prefer to have buyers compete for your home and see how high they will offer?
Yeah, and if the market doesn't bring us the price that you want, you can always say no.
Yeah.
You don't have to accept it.
It's interesting that sometimes you have a situation where you need to dwell into with the client, give them the buyer's perspective. We do this quite often. We're dealing with a seller, and they have their mindset about how it is for them.
Yeah.
And you need to bring them down back to a little bit of reality of what is the buyer's view of this? And that's what we get paid to do, is to understand it from both sides of the fence.
Sure.
So, it helps in that regard sometimes to get a message across and to sell the idea that their position is one view, there's another view.
Yep. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Do you guys get this about this success part of the meeting? How valuable, this is like, what this always turns into here, especially in Petaluma, but sometimes in the West also, is like a little mastermind session where you guys, 15 heads are way better than one.
Yeah.
One of the things that was tricky with her, and I experienced it, of course, throughout my career, is that sellers who will say, I have no idea what it's worth. And that, I don't
have no
believe
idea what
it's worth.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that, and they just don't want to tell you.
No, because they think it's a negotiation, right?
Right, and,
Here's what Zillow says it's worth, but we don't tell John.
yeah. Yeah, Zillow says my listing in Glen Ellen is worth 1.5. We had a fee appraisal for 1.1. We're on the market for $9.95, and we're 17 days into it, waiting for an
We're
offer.
going to talk about Zillow today.
Okay.
Because Zillow's going to be fun. We have some fun stuff to talk about today.
Hey, I didn't need to ask questions, a segue that you brought up about the referrals that you're getting.
Yes.
It's interesting when you go to meet people and so forth, you never even knew them, but if you engage, you find out, they have certain qualities
Yeah.
that could be an agent.
Yeah. Yep.
That are.
I love meeting people like that you think would be talented agents.
Right, that's what I just wanted to ask you, because
Yeah.
I know two
Oh,
people
absolutely.
that are professional people who are saying, I'm sort of topped out here, and, and I remind, they bring forward women in particular that are competing, and I says, our industry is one that's not discriminating.
Yeah, if
Guy
it's
and
somebody.
gal can make the same money,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's sort of like an highway, oh, yeah, right.
If it's somebody who you can tell is talented,
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that it's hard or impossible to teach somebody. You can teach somebody the technical aspects of the business and a little bit of scripts and dialogues, but then some people have a natural ceiling of achievement that's higher. When you notice that, I would
Yeah.
love to meet those people.
So, they don't have a license, but they're just thinking, so.
I do that all the time.
Great.
Yeah,
I'll
when I run into somebody and I'm like, wow, they blow me away or something, I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, you should go to real estate.
Exactly,
So-
and they get all like, really?
Yeah, because that allows us, because we don't go out and try to hire brand new agents.
Right.
All the other companies send letters to everybody who passes the BRE exam. We do not do that. I wanted to, and Eileen's like, no, we're not doing that. So, and the reason why is because we don't want to just bring in a bunch of people. But we also don't want to miss the diamonds.
Yeah.
So when you guys are out there and you see them, let us know. We'd be really interested in it. Who else has something a success they want to share? Yes.
I have some referrals. Since I'm out about doing some family things in Utah and Oregon, I'm at least gonna get a referral fee on some family business.
Nice.
And my nephew's gonna, in the process of buying a house. So I've worked out with the realtor, everything that comes through your office, I get a referral fee on.
Nice.
Anything.
Everything at all, or just
So
stuff from you?
Everything in my family, which is quite.
That's awesome. That's
And then,
really cool.
just as an FYI, my husband and I have been in Oregon and bought a home up in Oregon, and so if you have any, we have a lot of contacts up there, real estate people, for referrals. So, and it's an amazing market up there. If you have anybody who wants to buy a second home in Oregon, tell me about it.
Yeah, well, and everybody's looking for connections. We just had We just had that guy yesterday in the West. Who was it? Was anybody in here at the West office meeting yesterday
I
besides
was.
him?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember the guy we had from New York, from Manhattan,
Yeah,
New
he
York
was
City,
cool. I like
KW, New York City came in, and he was out in the wine country on vacation, specifically took time out to come out here because he wanted to meet everybody, and he wants everybody's New York City referrals. I mean, so now his entire vacation is a business trip, and it is.
It is.
And
He might make money.
and the thing is that's what, I mean, people always call me, they're like, oh, hey, Roy, do we know anybody? And I just, you know what I do? I go on the white pages. Because if I don't specifically know somebody good, I go on the white pages, I call up the team leader and I say, hey, who's good? And the team leader gives you whoever's next on the referral list. So if you guys can create relationships, there's agents out there looking for relationships with you guys. They need somebody in the wine country, you know? All the more reason to go, like I know you're gonna make a campuses like that, all the more reason to go to that stuff, to go to Bold and all that kind of stuff. Who else has something they wanna share?
I just had, my daughter who's 25 just bought her first house, is buying it in Sacramento, so I sent her to a KW.
Awesome.
A young guy who's really great with her.
Who is it?
Justin something, I don't know his last name. Justin.
Cool, fantastic.
And, his 2 little kids just born, he's working hard for his family, and
Mhm.
took my daughter around. She's all excited for her first house. So
That's fantastic. I bet she's excited. Where'd she buy?
It's north of the city. I don't, something Grove.
Elk Grove.
Elk Grove?
Elk Grove.
That's south of Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. It's a nice area.
So, and which daughter?
Crystal, she's a nutritionist at Sutter
Oh.
Hospital.
Oh,
Awesome.
nice.
That's really cool. Who else?
Vegetarian girl.
Yeah. So you're vegetarian too?
No.
No?
I'm a
He just
I tried
drinks
that
that
for,
way.
I tried it for a while.
Just not all the time.
I like sushi killed me. I had to have sushi. Who else has something that they want to share? I have a success I want to share. I talked about and I'm going to use your name, sorry, but I talked about you a little bit last week. But Shad came to our company to work with Timo initially, right? And you guys had this thing going on, and so I never really got plugged in with Shad because he went right to work with Timo and Renee and all that kind of stuff. And so when Shad and Timo decided they were going to do their own thing, and he's going to do his own business and not work together, I was a little bit worried. I told you this. I was like, because I felt like you and me didn't have a connection. I'm like, maybe, I felt like you were at risk, kind of. And he went to Bold. Why'd you go to Bold? Who got you to go to Bold?
You did?
Was it me or was it Rick?
You, Rick. kind of
Everybody did.
At the meeting.
We were kind of like on you about going to Bold, right? And then we hassled you and stuff. And
Yeah.
so he went to Bold. Why don't you tell the rest of that story? You went to Bold, and then I got a call from you.
Oh, yeah, so I called Roy and just wanted to thank him for getting me to go to Bold. I can just tell the difference it's gonna make in my business and in my personal life, and it's just gonna make my life more enjoyable, I feel. Harder work, you gotta work hard and
Mhm.
gotta put the time in, but what they're teaching me, like the class, teaching how to work basically in
Mhm.
real estate, that's the bottom line, is teaching how to work. But yeah, I just want to call and I want to thank you for that, letting me, getting me involved, and I feel like it's going to be, profitable, and like I said.
Yeah. Williams class I can go to. I mean, it was like, he felt like it was that
Yeah.
valuable. So he
Yeah.
signed up for Mega Camp that day. Because that was the one, I was like, the next one you really need to go to is Mega Camp. And in Bold, they do that. I mean, I knew why he was calling me, because it was gratitude call day.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the things you do in Bold is you go and you make gratitude calls to whoever you feel like you want to make gratitude calls to. I made my whole day that you decided that I was going to be one of those calls. I
Yeah,
thought
it
that
was
really
important.
cool.
I wanted to make that call.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me was that I feel like he's engaged and I feel like he gets the value that this company brings. Because when you come from another company, and maybe you could speak to this better than me because it's been a while since I ever been in another company, but if you've been exposed to what the typical training is at other companies, kind of when I sit down in a recruiting appointment and say training to somebody, if it's somebody who's been in the business for a while, you can kind of see their eyes sort of glaze over, and they kind of in their head they're kind of rolling their eyes. They're not doing it outwardly, but they're kind of like, yeah, training, okay, training, whatever. But you guys who are involved in training in a big way, like what you guys just did with Buffini and the peak performers and stuff, that kind of stuff, that kind of high level training, business consultation stuff that's about getting leads and really the kind of work that you do when you talk about work in your business, that's value. And you have to go out and pay for that from other companies. And here, you get it, you know? So I thought it was really, I
You're
just
paying
thought-
for the Buffini stuff.
No, I know you're paying for the Buffini stuff, and I think it's worth it. But you also get that kind of training here as well. You can enhance it by getting it anywhere else as well. But that option's here. I just thought that was really cool. So, that was, to me, that was a success. That's the thing I wanted to share today. Does anybody else have anything that they want to share before we move on to how, yes,
I
I
do
mean,
have a success, but like I said in the West office, it's really Roy's success. And it's this listing that I was speaking about today. How'd you like my presentation, Diana? I'm Eileen with Coldwell Banker.
That was a psychological
What?
slip there. Like,
No.
wait a minute. Everybody at the table turned to me and went, and I
Did
went,
you notice
"No,
that I
don't
got a
think so."
lot of attention at that point?
That's
You know?
pretty funny.
And then it's like, well,
Oh,
never
not
mind,
really.
don't annoyance. But the thing is, the listing that I talked about at the breakfast in Santa Rosa today for $975,000 came from Roy's letter, his urgent need letter, and when Diana Enos, a brand new agent, and my husband, who has never sold anything nor ever will. They worked on a letter together, and they did the letter just like Roy said to do it and sent it to everybody in Skyhawk. And Peter called on the letter and listed his house.
awesome. And that was a while ago. Wow, he held on to that for a while.
Yeah, and then Diana moved out of the area, so she couldn't take the listing. She's down in Santa Cruz now. Will doesn't, he's a referral agent only, so anyway, I was gonna say I got stuck with it, but that's not really the thing. But did you hear about the house? The house is the most expensive, largest, worst house in Skyhawk. You know? And it's being held open right now, but the thing is, it's $975, and somebody will buy it. We had about
Yeah.
60 sets of people through. And if any of you want to pick up high-end buyers or sellers, you're welcome to hold that vacant house open.
Awesome. Well,
Anytime.
Tina's taking her test today. If she passes, she'll hold it open. so
Yeah,
we can-
anytime.
How many square feet is it?
3,704. And it was one of those, when they built Skyhawk, Christofferson, of course, built that out, and he started at the bottom, phase 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 7. When he got to 7, that was where the big view lots were. And this lot is 0.82 acres, and it's the one everybody was fighting over. Even the ones who got the big lots wanted that one, but they didn't get it, and they had to take these lots over here. And so everybody wanted that lot. My cardiologist client, who I found out I actually already knew, but anyway, he had moved out to Michigan and rented it out for 6 years, and the people trashed it. And so, so he's never done anything with the lot, but
But it's
the
just
lot.
cosmetic, right?
But the lot is big and beautiful,
Yeah,
and it's totally cosmetic.
yeah. That's
But
awesome.
anyway, so that came from Roy's urgent need letter, so if you have not engaged in that project, I suggest you do it.
I do too, and just so you guys know, that isn't me. I mean, that's another one of the cool things about this company. I learned it from somebody smarter than me because it was put in front of me because that person was somebody who was teaching at Keller Williams in Sacramento. So it's not like I figured that out and like I hit on some kind of genius marketing. I just copied something that worked that somebody else did. That's what everybody should be doing.
There were 3 calls on that letter and 3 listing presentations. But only
Yeah.
one has listed so far, but that was a good letter.
How many
Oh,
did you
yeah,
send
it looks
out?
good.
How many did you send out?
I didn't send them out, but the 2 of them sent them out to every home in Skyhawk. And I don't know how many that was.
I think that their initial mailing was like 450.
Was it?
And if you mail less than 300, statistically the sample's too small to be predictable, but 300 and above, at 300, so it fluctuates, but the way it was working in Sacramento was 300 would get you 8 incoming phone calls, 3 appointments and 1 listing. When we did it in Yuba City, no one was doing it. So my agents in Yuba City were doing it, and they were getting like 25 calls, 8 appointments, 3 listings, that kind of stuff and doing it. Out here, it's more like the response rate that you would see in Sacramento. 300 should get you 8 incoming phone calls, 3 appointments and a listing, right? And they typically start out as a one party also, because the letter is, is attractive to somebody, and you've done urgent need letters before. The letter is attractive to somebody who may not want their house marketed and might just want to, that kind of stuff. And then the part of the dialogue that changes that is the fact that you ethically need to advise them of this anyway, is at some point in the listing presentation or at some point when you're getting ready to do a one-party listing, you just say, hey, Steve, it may not be in your, I have to advise you that it may not be in your best interest to sell your home to the only person who knows it's available. Does that make sense? And Steve goes, well, yeah, well, why? Is he just, well, statistically, you're a lot more likely to get a better offer and a higher price if it's properly marketed. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to just do it this way? And then half the time they want to still do it that way at first, then your buyer goes through and they don't buy it because statistically it's a small chance that one buyer is going to see it and buy it. And then the seed's planted and it turns into a
That's what
full-blown
happened with
listing.
me.
Yeah,
I mean, I showed the house and because it was on a business.
and they don't buy it,
They
right?
didn't buy it, the people said, I'm gonna list the house with you anyway.
Of course they are, because the seed's planted now,
Right.
and they're ready to go. And when they're getting ready to have that one showing to the one buyer, what do you think they're doing? They're looking at property. All sellers are buyers first. They're looking at property. They're getting excited. They're starting to think about the move, right? That's the way. Because I had people get ready to send that letter out who were like, "Well, what happens if my buyer doesn't buy it?" I'm like, "Who cares? It's just go list it." And then half the time they'll do it that way, and the other half of the time they'll end up taking your advice and listing the property anyway, like full-blown listing. Well, tell them they can still see it, but we want it marketed.
Plus, for those letters, not just the phone calls, I got calls from other agents, said, my client called me and said you were interested in this house. So
Yeah.
I was getting stuff before it was hitting the market, which is real important, especially when you have a buyer who's starting to get depressed by, you showed me 50 houses and I bought it.
Yeah.
And now I've showed you one off of the market that you know that I'm working hard on,
Nice.
and,
Yeah.
they're gonna stick with you.
Yeah.
At which point, I mean, if you wanted, you probably could
Yeah,
get a buyer.
that letter's a gold mine.
Right.
I mean, it helps you keep the buyers you have, because you can show them you're sending it out, and they're like, no one else does this, And if you ever get to show them an off-market property, you got them forever,
And Ray, one of the things, in one of the Keller Williams videos, it said that 2%, if you send it out to the 450 or whatever number, 2% of the people are already thinking about selling their houses. I mean, that they actually are in the process of listing their houses.
Right.
And you are getting those people. So
And you're
that was a
interrupting
big
them.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah, you're interrupting that process. I mean, I might get that letter out to somebody who has an appointment with a realtor
Yes.
to come out, and they'll either postpone that appointment, or I'll get in before them and end up with the listing. You interrupt that process with that letter. And then one of the last sentences in the letter says, if your home is currently listed by an agent, please have your agent contact me right away. Because you are sending it out on behalf of a buyer, and you do want that phone call, and you do want to show them an off-market property if it's possible.
If you're just sending it out just to get listings, then you're probably
Yeah.
gonna end up miserable.
Yeah, well, it'll work, it just depends. I mean, if I were you guys, I would carpet bomb this place with that letter. I seriously would. I'd have a ton of buyers in all different price ranges, and if I didn't, I would say we, because our office does, and I'd be sending out 2,000 a month to different addresses, because it's a numbers game.
And it doesn't matter, I did West Petaluma, because I do have an all-cash buyer in
Yeah.
West Petaluma, up to 700, and some people called me and said, oh, Timo sent me the same letter.
You do
But
it.
then another person called and said, you know what, I've been working with this big name here in Petaluma, but, I didn't have such a good experience, so can you come over to my house? And I went over, and we're either gonna sell this house, or my mother-in-law lives in this Victorian, we're either gonna move there or here, and they're still talking to me about which house.
Yeah, and
they
that
wanna
was a
sell.
listing appointment, yes?
Yeah.
So the letter got you an at-bat. I think it's a no-brainer. And there's lots of stuff like that.
It doesn't matter, other people are sending it to.
Sure, yeah, who cares? And really, they're not. Everybody's excuse to not farm, to not market, is because everybody else is doing it. Raise your hand if you've ever gotten more than 4 consecutive pieces of mail from the same agent. Very few of you, one of you.
Peg King, I get them all the time. My neighborhood.
Okay, so she's
She lives up the
consistently
hill.
farming your neighborhood,
Yeah.
but nobody else's hand went up.
Okay, so I have a question. When I was first in the business, I had a lot of success with direct mail. Because I did a lot with every just listed, just sold, I did
Yeah.
a big swath. And, but I included a return, included a little postcard
Mhm.
that they could, answer a couple of questions, or just enter me in the sweepstakes to win an all-expense paid
Right.
trip to Hawaii or whatever.
Sure.
And so I would get a consistent return, but I don't, you know, now they don't, does anybody have any information on being able to offer those types of postcards without it being a huge expense? Because I used to do it, and, you know, the postman would just come to the receptionist, and she'd give them, you know, like a $1 or what, for whatever couple of postcards would come in.
Mhm.
And then I would just pay her, you know, back, but now I think it's different, you have to get.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I never did, like, I did farming and stuff, does anybody else know? Because I don't know how that works as far as like, when you said you're including like a postage prepaid direct response card?
Right, I'm interested in buying, I'm interested in prices in my neighborhood,
It
I'm
still
interested
works.
in investment property.
Yeah,
Or
Michael,
just
that's,
enter me in this
I know
week.
that still works, I mean,
You
you
just
can,
have to get an account.
yeah, and you have to get one of those.
Postal stamp.
A post, yeah,
That's what all the
yeah, exactly.
magazines do.
You can
Yeah.
pre-print it with
They
that.
do it exactly that way.
Yeah, and there's other
Plan on
ways too
paying
now.
for it.
You may not need to do that though, because if you've looked at Corfact and Rebo Gateway and all that kind of stuff, and they're doing response codes and through the web and stuff like that now, which increases your response rate.
I mean, where people would go, you send them a direct mail, but then they go on the web to respond?
Yeah, they respond on the web with a special code, right? And that alerts you to not only the address that they're responding from and all, because they all go out with unique codes. It's pretty cool. Take a look at that. Talk to Viv Chia with Petaluma.
Right, I talked to her, I have to get back with her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Is that letter on the website?
Uh-huh.
Cool.
It's so if you go to the backside, kw.com, you go on kw.com on your dashboard, and in the e-edge little rectangle that's on there, it says My Market Center Intranet. Click on that link and go in there to Market Center documents, and all that stuff is on there. And it's in a Word document, editable, ready to go. The key is send it out in a number 10 double window envelope. And in the return address window, it can't say Shad Cloney, Keller Williams. It just needs to say the office address. Right? Don't put the brokerage name, and you can, on the letter, it has to be on there to be compliant. But in the return address window, if you put that stuff on there, it won't get opened.
Got it.
It needs to get open, right? It's about getting it open, right?
Handwrite your envelopes if you can.
Yeah, but if you're gonna send out a bunch, you can't.
You guys, she came and talked to you, yeah, Christy from First American Title.
Oh, yeah?
I heard her at the car meeting, but I really liked her brochures for if they can buy home warranty, why
Mhm.
house on the market.
Yep.
So I asked her to send me some brochures.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I have a whole ton of them, I'll leave some here.
Okay, I want to get Brent going right now because I'm 5 minutes late for him to get going here, but there's one last thing really quick I want to share before Brent talks. And that is, everybody has seen the article, it's actually not even up here, everybody's seen the article where the Zillow exec saying, you know, we don't want to be an MLS, we don't want to be a broker, and hey, check out our new coming soon category, and all that kind of stuff, right? Has everybody seen that? Mike Kelly sent me a letter about it, and he wanted like my take on it and stuff like that. So has everybody read that article on Inman News? Go to Inman News and read the article about Zillow and their coming soon category, and how they don't want to be a broker and they don't want to be an MLS. In a nutshell, my thoughts on that are this. Our MLS needs a coming soon category, and they're already contemplating one. And that's not coincidental that they're contemplating it right now, right after this news came out about Zillow. That's the real reason they're contemplating it, is to compete with Zillow, to be a source of property information. But the other thing about it is this. If you become an agent who either relies on the broker for leads and or on Trulia and Zillow for leads, you will, in the next 10 years, be working for them. And your license will entitle you to a $20 an hour job plus bonuses working for those companies.
Wow, really?
That is really what I think. You're funny. That's really what I think. And here's why.
Exactly.
But if you don't want that, if you want to own your own business, if you want to earn what you're worth, which is what you guys are already doing, then, and this is just my opinion, so take it for what it's worth. The way you beat Trulia and Zillow at their own game is by hyper-local niche marketing. Trulia and Zillow can never go into your neighborhoods that you market and beat you. They're never going to beat you to the houses, they're never going to beat you to the doors, they're not going to beat you to the phone, and they're not going to be able to give you accurate, hyper-local information. You already know that, right? Well, we just talked about Zillow having their house value at like 1.2, and it was you that was talking about that. So the way you compete with the big third-party lead generators is not by buying their leads. It's by going out and getting your own leads on a hyper-local level. And so the agents who do that will always have a place and will always be highly compensated. The agents who don't, who currently rely on their floor leads, and who currently rely on reload leads, and who currently buy leads from Zillow and Truly in a big way, and that's all they do, they'll end up working for companies like that. That's what they'll do.
If they
That's
want
my rant.
if they want those leads.
If they want those leads. Either that or they'll go into another business.
Yeah.
Or they'll learn how to get their own. So that's my rant. Brent Blaustein with Summit Funding. Invited him to come in and talk to us today about just that, how to get leads.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
So I'm Brent Blaustein with Summit Funding, and I know a lot of you. Basically what I do is I do the financing on the houses that you guys are selling. And I want to thank Eileen and Roy for having me. It's an honor, and I really appreciate your time. I know you guys are all really busy. I hope that I can add a lot of value to what you're doing. What do you think, as a real estate agent, your number one responsibility is?
Lead
Region.
generation.
Ding, 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 ding. Exactly. Right? Right? That's why you guys get paid the big bucks, because you guys can generate the leads. So, I think that there's a lot of good stuff out there. There's, there's Zillow, and there's Trulia, and there's all these things. There's farming. There's all these things that you can do. And for me, that's the easy stuff. It's easy for me to send out a farm. It's easy for me to sign up and pay $100 a month or $200 or whatever it is and get these leads. For me, the hard part is the face-to-face, the belly-to-belly. It's really going out there and getting the solid leads. But what do you think the dirty little secret is of this business? Or maybe the big secret? What do you think? Right? Getting leads is simple. It's not easy, right? Or else everybody would be doing it, but it is simple, okay? You do Buffini, you're doing Bold, there's Tom Ferry, there's Joe Stump. There's a lot of systems out there. And the hard part is that most people aren't doing it. The systems are simple, but doing the work is hard. It is hard work, and you have to be committed. In fact, this is the system that I use. It's one page. It fits on one page. I'll be happy to share this with you. But this system helped me to triple my business, triple my income in 2 years, okay? It's hard, it's not easy, but it's simple. So I'm gonna share it with you. And what I believe, what this system has taught me, and what I believe is that we have to start from the basics, right? So a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, or that we were talking about before, is trying to get leads from people that you don't know, trying to get people out there, and that's all good stuff. But why not start with the people you know? So who has a database, right? What are some of the databases you guys use? Top Producer, right? There's a lot of really good ones for realtors, better than for us lenders. So you gotta start with a database. You gotta have 400 people. If you don't have 400 people, then what I did was I took my wedding list. I got into this business a year after I got married, so I started with my wedding list. And then I added to it because there are sure a lot of people that I would have liked. So,
Good luck with that.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
She wants to know which wedding.
Which wedding should we use?
Yeah.
All
of them. Exactly right. Your exes won't mind. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you're going to start out with a 400-person database, okay? Then you're going to get information on these people. So name, spouse's name, birthday, address, email. What you can do is use an all about you form. If you don't have one, I will be happy to provide it to you. The all about you form is going to ask what restaurants they like, what hobbies they like, how many kids they have, what are the ages of their kids, where do they like to eat, what's their favorite food. You're going to get some information. And why are we doing this? We're doing this for 2 reasons. First of all, it gives you a reason to call, right? It gives you a reason to call. I don't know about you, but I am the worst at call reluctance. That phone is like 500 pounds. I need a reason to call, because if I don't have a reason, I'm not gonna call. So the All About You form, getting the information, gives you a reason to call, and then it helps you cater to them. Once you have that information, it helps you take really good care of them. It helps you go deep with them. So you're gonna get an All About You form, okay? You're gonna get some information on them. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna mail to them every month, okay? So every other month, you're gonna mail what's called an evidence of success. And then on the opposite months, you're gonna mail a letter of the heart. Who can tell me the difference between the two? Chad?
Letter of the heart comes from like some that happened from like Thanksgiving was a great time spent with your family. You know, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. You know, like that.
Yep.
And then the evidence of success is, I sold Joe's house. I helped him find another house. Everything went smooth.
Exactly right. So why do we send both? Why can't we just send the evidence of success, right? You guys are top agents, you're selling stuff all the time.
Spinning bulbs.
Just sold
That's
cars,
what he's talking about.
right? Well,
You taught me this actually.
Yeah,
We had a lunch.
yeah,
before
so
this.
feeding the feed, bring it on.
Well, I mean, the brain works differently. You have your left brain and your right brain. So you want to engage with your clients because some people think on the left and some people think on the right.
So, my wife loves the GUI, loves the kids, you know, loves all the hard stuff. For me, I'm a numbers guy. I just want to look at the numbers. So we get a just sold card. I want to know what it sold at. What did my neighbor's house sell at? What down the street? I want to know because that's going to affect what my value is. You know, I'm curious who of you are selling in my neighborhood. Who's doing business? That's what I want to know. My wife doesn't really care. She's just like, oh, it's, you know, she's interested in like what so-and-so's kids are doing and blah, 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 blah. So the reason why you have to send both is because if you have two people in a household, you want to hit both of them, right? If you're just sending the letter of the heart and you got a right brain person and a left brain person, you're missing 50% of your audience. So you got to do both, okay? So for you as realtors, you can use your just sold cards or just listed or whatever. Personally, I like what Shad was talking about. I like, you know, Jane and Joe thought they'd never be able to buy a house. They've been priced out of the market. They're competing with everybody. I sent out a special letter to the neighborhood that they were, you know, that they wanted to buy in, and we were able to buy them a house without competing with everybody, whatever, right? Stories like that differentiate you. Letter of the heart, that's easy. You just tell them what's going on in your life. I just, you know, went on a road trip with my family down to Southern California. We stopped at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. It was our first time. It was so great. Then we went to visit my mother-in-law, and she's really doing great, and the kids go back to school next week. I have a reputation of being a little bit stiff. And so, what's that?
Should stretch more.
That is true too. So when I was first guided or taught to do this, it felt a little uncomfortable because I am a financial planner who specializes in mortgages, and there is a boundary between my client and me, and this is what I do, and you know, so on and so forth. But I was encouraged to do it, and I did it. And all of a sudden, people who I hadn't talked to, because we all should be staying in touch with our past clients, but I'm as guilty as everybody is not doing it as well as I should. People I hadn't, talked to in years are emailing me and calling me, telling me they got it. People who I thought didn't like me, like, the transaction didn't go as perfect as I thought it should have gone, and I just thought maybe there was a little bad taste left in their mouth because they never called or whatever. They're calling, they're emailing, telling me how much they enjoyed it, right? It really, truly affects people, and it is not hard to do. There's a couple people talking about direct mail and stuff. You can use a mail house. They'll do it for you, right? You don't even have to do it yourself. And I've got tons of examples of letters of the heart and evidence of successes that you can use, you can copy from, you can, and that way, you're not doing the same stuff as everybody here. Okay, so you're going to send a letter every month. You're going to send an email every month. Okay, so you'll get on some sort of newsletter. You can buy those, whatever. I'm sure Keller will.
Yeah, KW has one of those.
Yeah, sure. Right. So you're doing that already. Okay. Now you got to get in front of these people twice a year. okay? You're gonna have 2 client parties per year. So, who does client parties? Okay, 2 people, 3 people out of 14 people in this room do client parties. Why don't you do a client party? What's the biggest fear about a client party?
Too many people.
I'm not gonna show up.
Nobody will come.
Gold-plated problem. Too many people, I'll take that any day, right? Too many people, please, bring it on. My biggest fear about having a client party is that no one's gonna show up. So guess what? I kind of put it on the back burner. I'll do it next month. I'll do it next month. So as a lender, I do monthly parties for you guys, happy hours. I do a thing called Breakfast with Brent every 3rd Thursday of the month at Della Vittoria. Get together. So it is hard. You guys are busy, right? You guys are busy. But when I go to a client party for a realtor, when one of my realtors has a client party, it's packed. People show up, they love it. They're eating, they're drinking, they're having fun. I tell you, you gotta get past that fear because they work, people love it. They show up and they love it. I will tell you, I did a movie day, client party, and I went to a realtor's one. It wasn't as successful as I thought it would be. I love movies. I think what's better than renting out a theater and inviting everybody to a free movie and free popcorn, and I'd be there in a second. Wasn't as successful. The parties that I've gone to where, you have some appetizers and some wine were just phenomenal, and people really had a good time. I'll tell you, I am scheduling one next month. We're gonna do a karaoke party at my house, right? This is all about going deep with you guys and my clients, getting to know you, letting you get to know me, and having fun and letting go, because I wanna work with people that I like and people that like me, right? If we can't sit down and have a dinner together or have lunch together and talk about our families, then we don't really wanna work. Why would we wanna work together? So 2 client parties a year. The next thing is you are going to call them twice per year as well. And you're gonna call a letter of the alphabet. So if you call 1 letter of the alphabet every week, you will call everybody twice a year. Okay, there's 26 letters, there's 52 weeks. You'll call everybody twice a year. And hey, just a coincidence, if you have 2 client parties, you're calling everybody twice a year, you have a reason to call them, right? Because again, call reluctance. Why am I calling these people? What do I say? You need to have a reason to call or you won't call. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's the first group, 400, you're gonna do that with your 400. The second group, you're going to go even deeper. This is your top 25 to 50. These are people that you like and that can refer you business. So these aren't necessarily past clients. These can be anybody. This could be Roy. This could be Eileen. This could be your dry cleaner. This could be family. It could be anybody who has the ability to refer you business. The idea is that you're going to create channel accounts. Channel accounts are people, businesses, institutions that can refer you multiple transactions per year, not onesie-twosies. We're talking 5 transactions a year. Gold mines, really. You're gonna develop those relationships. So how do we do that? So you're gonna do everything that you do for your 400, but you're gonna go even deeper. You're gonna do a birthday program. You're gonna send birthday cards to them. You're gonna call them on their birthday. If they're local and it's convenient, you're going to show up with a cupcake on your birthday, on their birthday. You may, if they're real special, you may get them a gift.
I got one.
Yeah.
From Brent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I'm in his top 25. And
You're gonna.
and he came to my show.
Yeah.
Twice.
That's right. It was awesome. It was so much fun. So you're gonna maybe do a gift program, small gifts. They don't have to be big deals, but things that really touch people. For instance, that this particular person has a son or daughter who's starting UC Santa Cruz in the fall. Maybe get them a Slugs hat. Slug is the mascot. Banana Slug is the mascot for UC Santa Cruz. I know that because I'm a loan. But so you get them a hat or a sweatshirt or a T-shirt, something that says that you care and you're paying attention. Okay. You're also going to do break breads with them, because what's more deepening than sitting down with someone at a meal? You're gonna invite them to coffee. You're gonna get to know them. And again, this may sound uncomfortable. It's like, you know, maybe don't know them that well to begin with. So when I created my top 25 list, I thought of it like this. There's these people, I'm super busy. I've got a busy work. I've got 4 kids. I have a wife. I'm super busy. And so I don't get as much time with friends as I would like. Just, you know, either guys or gals, whatever. Even just like dates, couple dates, you know, with my wife. I don't get a lot of that, but I want more. It's important to me in my life. So this was a really great opportunity for me to just write down 50 people that I want to get to know better. And how cool would it be for you to get a call from someone that maybe you don't know very well, maybe you do, that just says, hey, John, you know, I've been thinking about you. You're such a cool guy. I've been thinking about wanting to get to know you better. You want to get together for coffee tomorrow night? You know, let's hang out, talk about the Giants, whatever. You know, if I got that call, I'd be super excited. I mean, I would love that. So when I thought of that, I thought that's a great way, that's an easy way to pick up the phone, a good reason. Because who doesn't want to get a call from someone that basically says, I like you, and I want to learn more about you, I want to get to know you more, right? We all want to be liked, we all want friends. So, so you're going to do that. You're going to do 6 break breads a year with that top 50 list. You're going to put them on a birthday program. You're going to put them on a gift program. You're going to do all the other stuff, okay? And you're going to call them every month. You're going to call them every month just to check in, see how the kids are doing. And remember, all of these calls, all of these break breads, all of these face-to-faces, all of these touches are reasons to ask for referrals. The goal is to get 2 referrals a year from these people, right? That's why you're calling. Now, it's not, it is sincere, right? You're not doing it just for referrals because you want to go deeper. You want to develop these relationships. But you also want to get referrals and leads from people who trust and know you. They are much easier than the people who call from a farm, or the Zillow leads, or the Tiger leads, or the Boomtown, right? Half of those, or 3/4, or 90% of the Boomtown and the Zillow and the Tiger give you wrong phone numbers, wrong email addresses, right? I mean, they're expensive and they don't give you what you really want. A real person who wants to buy or sell. So all of this is super simple. You just have to do it. And I'm telling you that I tripled my income by doing the system, truly, in 2 years. And I had a good business before, but it exploded. And I'm just giving you the basics. There's a lot more to it. Anybody who's interested, I'm happy to sit down and give you the forms, because there's forms to keep you on track. There's, you know, deeper systems to keep you on track. There's more ideas that we have to help you go deeper. This is just the basics. But I guarantee, right, that if you do this, your business will improve. And if it doesn't, we'll refund your money. Guess how much it costs? 0, right? 0. It just takes some hard work.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you like, after you have these systems set up in your business, to maintain and implement and keep those systems running and implemented in your business, how much time do you spend a week on those systems?
Okay, that's a really good question. So, you know, all of you have different goals for what you want your business to be. Some of you may want to do 100 transactions a year. Some of you may only want to do 10, right? You have your own goal. So you have to decide how much effort you want to put into this. Ideally is that you're going to create a business that gets bigger and that you can grow a team so that you have people managing this stuff. So all you get to do is go out and meet with people, because that's what you're good at, right? You're realtors. You are salespeople. That is what you like to do. If you didn't like to do it, you wouldn't be in this business. So what if you could have people on your team managing the transaction, managing your marketing plan, your marketing calendar, so all you were doing was having breakfast, coffees, lunches, and dinners with your clients and your favorite people. That's the goal, right? So for instance, I recently hired a marketing assistant to help me stay on track, because I was getting busy and it's hard for me to make sure all this stuff gets done. I want it to get done because it's really important to me. So I hired a marketing assistant to make sure it happens. to make sure, and to give me ideas, and to, my goal is I want to really change my client's life. I don't want it to be just, here's your loan, you close on your house, goodbye and good luck. I really want to affect their families. So something new that I've started, this is something that I'm going to be doing every other month. The first one is going to be in August. It's a wealth workshop. And the premise behind it is, we just helped you get into the largest financial debt of your life, and now we're going to help you get out of it. So basically, I'm inviting all the people who've closed in the previous month or previous 2 months, and their realtors, to come, and I'm going to teach them how to do a personal family budget. I'm going to teach them how to pay off credit card debt. I'm going to teach them how to save for retirement. And then at the very end, once they've accomplished all those goals, I'm going to teach them how to pay off their mortgage. Because I see their finances, I see people, I see what they're doing, and I feel that this way I could help them to really, this could really affect their family, to help them grow wealth besides just buying a house. So, you know, I need help putting that stuff on, but those are the things that I want to do with my business. And so I need help.
So then for you,
that.
part of the system is the leverage through others that you hire to get that
Exactly.
stuff done so that you can get paid to do
What I like
what
to
you
do.
love, which is meet with people.
Exactly. So I just need someone that's gonna, you know, find the restaurant, schedule it, send out the invitations, and then call to follow up to you know, explain what, you know, why we're invited. Because we're not selling anything, there's no cost or anything, but, you know, we want to invite them personally. So I just need someone to help manage it,
Yeah.
so that I can show up and then really, you know, go deep with them.
Awesome.
So, other questions?
Cool. Do you have a
No
name for
questions?
your systems?
Well, the company or program that taught me this is called the Core. It's called the Core Training. It's a training company similar to Buffini and Tom Ferry. It's for realtors and lenders, and I've been doing it for 3 years. And it's not only changed my business, it's changed my life. So if I'm happy to share this all with you for free. If it's something you want to look into to actually get involved in. One of the things that is very important for me is the accountability. So I get coached, and I have to stay accountable to that coach. But I'm happy to do that with any of you. So, because I think that accountability is really important. It's really easy to fall off.
Are you in Petaluma?
Yeah, downtown. My office is on the second floor of the Bank of America building. We are not affiliated with Bank of America. We just are on the second floor. Yeah, you know where that is? On the corner.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So. Cool. Anything
Awesome.
else?
No?
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Brent. All right, guys, if there's nothing else, we're gonna wrap it up for today.